Unbelievable. Another school shooting. This is so sad to me. It is beyond sad because the underlying issue that I'm finding, or the underlying problem with these young people that are so angry, frustrated, sad, is that they lack self-love, self-confidence, self-esteem. And we have got to figure out a way to change this. Our future of young people is at stake here, great people. Before I get into this video, and just hang on here, please watch it all the way to the end. There are other videos that point back to this issue. I also have a youth channel that I talk about these things. And I hate being a bearer of bad news. I really do. I am going to be one of the most positive people that you will ever meet. Okay. I really am. I'm an optimist at heart. And that's why I feel though this can be changed. We can definitely make a difference in the lives of young people and families. And I had a video where I was talking about development and where it starts. I took it down because it was too long. I needed to break it up in 2 parts, and I'm going to relaunch it. But to me, this young man, it just breaks my heart. Let's get into the video. If you're liking this controversial conversations over here, uncomfortable conversations, topics that need to be discussed and for us to talk about, subscribe to the channel. Go check out other videos that I'm talking about this topic and anything else that's going to have you think outside of the box. Let's get into the video, and then we're going to chop it up throughout and at the end, because I got a lot of key points. I did some due diligence of research behind this, because this has been something that I've been studying since grad school, and abnormal behaviors is a specialty of mine. And we have to be able to get into the lives of young people, to the minds of young people, so we can help them. Okay, great people. I'm about to start crying. It just saddens me. It just saddens me so much. Full view, y'all can see this. So just follow along with me, because I'm going to be stopping it in between. We're going to be talking, and we're going to chop it up at the end. I want this to be a video that's less than 20 minutes because I don't want to just keep going and going and going. So let's get into this. This is discussing the most recent shooting that we've heard of, and that's at Antioch High School. This young man was 17 years old. He still is not an adult. He's not an adult. He is 17. And I know they may consider adult, but no, he ain't legal.
Start with breaking news tonight in the deadly Antioch High School shooting. Metro Police now releasing what happened leading up to the gunfire.
Investigators say the gunman in this case, Solomon Henderson, entered the school with a plan. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar now live in Antioch with what she has uncovered tonight.
Scott, we learned Solomon Henderson was brought to Antioch High School by his mom, and the gun was purchased by someone in Arizona. It was not reported stolen, and we also know more about what led up to the gunfire. A community shattered over 17-year-old Solomon Henderson's actions. Here at Antioch High School, Metro Police say Henderson fired 10 shots 17 seconds after entering the high school cafeteria, killing student Jocelyn Correa Escalante, wounding another student, then killing himself.
When it was happening, I thought that I was gonna die.
Valeria Martinez says she knew Henderson and says she couldn't believe the violence she was watching this normally quiet teen unleash.
Shot the girl twice. I saw when she fell.
Metro Police revealed Henderson posted photos online from inside the restroom shortly before the attack. This photo, given to Fox 17 News, seems to be in line with what police are saying. Police searched Henderson's home Wednesday and found 2 writings believed to have been created by him. We obtained 2 documents as well, one 288 pages in length and the other around 50 pages, matching what police officers say they found online. Some of the excerpts from the 288-page document reads, quote, "The shooting will happen next Thursday," end quote. And quote, "My goal is to kill at least 10 people," end quote.
Thank God he did not do that.
Was influenced by harmful online material. Martinez,
we're going to talk about it at the end. We're going to talk about that at the end.
Remains in disbelief.
It's scary and traumatizing. He just looks so innocent that, like, you wouldn't have ever thought that he would do something like that.
Okay, let's get into this video. Now, this is a student talking about his experience, how he feels. And I think after my 3rd video, we're going to talk before I start going into some of the articles as to who this young man was. The underlying issue is I want us to zoom in on emotion and his mindset, how he felt on the inside, because that's the overall problem here, great people.
Hey, what year are you here at Antioch High?
I'm a student, 12th grader.
Okay, so where were you when the time that this happened?
I was in the cafeteria when all the shots started going off.
And what was going through your head when that happened?
I thought it's like people in the cafeteria, they do chip bags and make sounds with it to make it sound like a gun, but it was repeatedly going off. And I turned around with my lunch in my hand, and I saw the shooter just shooting people I knew.
You knew the victims?
Yeah, I've seen them before, but I don't know their name.
You don't know their name?
No.
But do you know the shooter?
No, I don't know. I had no connection with the shooter, but it's like seeing his face, it was like kind of covered. Like he had a hoodie or something.
Okay. What was going through your head when all of this happened?
It was a lot of rush and insomnia. Like,
yeah.
That made me want to just like do something crazy, like run out there. I was trying to help people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My mind was so cluttered.
Yes, he can't even wrap his mind around it. Poor son.
And how are you feeling now that you're reconnected with your mother?
I feel relieved and I feel safe, but I feel bad for the victims who lost their lives.
Yeah. And when you, I guess, saw them or saw all of this going down, what was everyone else's reaction around you?
It was a lot of screaming, a lot of tears. People was screaming on their faces. They were scared to die,
yeah.
And they was running, like not no regular run. It was like someone was chasing them.
For your life.
It was a monster.
Exactly.
Just killing
running
people.
For your life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
Is there security at Antioch High School?
Yes, there was. It was security. It's always police officers around the school, but I didn't see them near the cafeteria when it happened. It should have been on site.
Do you guys have metal detectors?
We used to. It was a couple months ago, but they took it away.
Why do you think they took them away?
I'm not sure. I don't know if people didn't like them or some reason like that, but I feel like they should have kept it going for situations like these.
Oh, absolutely. Anything else you want to say to your fellow students, I guess, the people that were injured?
I'm glad everybody was safe. People I don't know at the school or my friends and family, I'm glad they're all safe in the school. And I really do feel bad for the victims who lost their lives. They should have never lost their lives in that school.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're okay.
Wow, what a mature young man. And it's so sad that you haven't experienced this at school. So last video, and then we're going to talk before the article, comes in, because I want us to chop it up about those few videos.
Like fighting. So people from
Go back a little bit more.
by the cafeteria
at Nashville's Covenant School nearby.
So the classroom that I was in, it's right by the cafeteria. So we had thought people were fighting. So people from my classroom, they were going outside and we seen people screaming, running, we could hear it.
Jocelyn Dayana Correa Escalante always knew how much she was loved. That's her dad, Germán Correa, saying in Spanish that every day he reminded her of that special bond. But now, Daddy's little girl is gone. It's not fair, says Germán. Jocelyn was shot and killed while in her high school cafeteria on Wednesday. The family left devastated and in disbelief.
Ay, Dios, es mi niña.
Oh God, she was my girl, says her aunt Maria Correa as she cries. She continues to describe Jocelyn as a kind and calm teenager. She loved soccer and brought home good grades. But above everything, she loved Germán and her family just as much as they loved her.
He was a monster, just killing people.
Absolute heartbreak at Antioch High School. Metro Police say that 17-year-old Solomon Henderson arrived with a plan.
This individual arrived at school on a bus and was...
Okay, so we're going to stop there. And before I get into... that, let's, good timing to talk here for a few minutes. And I'm going to talk about the articles so I can keep it in my time limit so y'all can stay with me. So here we talk about, we hear what the students are saying. The first girl said, when you looked at him, you didn't even think he would do something like that. And that's how depression hides. Depression, you may be able to see it on people at times, but it can also hide like a smile. It can be tucked away under anxiousness or what may appear to be jolly and excitement. But underneath, this student, this youth, this kid, this child is suffering horribly. Now, we're going to find out more about who this young man is, but this is a teen. 17 is not an adult. 18, 19, and then you get to 20. And still, research wants to even give a youthful brain to a 25 to 28-year-old. They're saying research suggests that even by 28, your brain still is not fully developed. And we know the brain is forever going to be changing and growing and changing because of how it's made. That's why it's going to forever be research done in certain areas. And we can't just pinpoint one thing to situations like these and mental health and problems, because it's going to be a mixture, a conglomerate of things that I mentioned in a previous video, biopsychosocial. Okay, so let's get into this article. And before we go any further, guys, if you're liking this content, please like this video and listen all the way through the end, because I'm going to give some tips and share a few things how we can begin to correct this, shift this, change this. But I want us to tap into more of who this young man is, because that is the most important. This is the profile that makes up these young people who are, Alexa, cancel. Makes up these young people. This is the mindset and the hearts of these people that are doing, these young people that are doing these crimes. Okay. So let's see. Let's make this bigger. Yeah, okay. Now, okay, yo, these ads. Okay. So here we have Nashville school shooter Solomon Henderson appears to have been in contact with Wisconsin school shooter Natalie Rupnow. I think I'm saying her name right. Now, I'm not going to read the full article because I am going to attach these in my description. And I'm going to also have some tips and some places where, once again, if there are any underlying issues, if you're noticing parents or, you tapping into things, then you can also reach out for support. It says, I don't want to just, you can read that first paragraph yourself. The online accounts of Solomon Henderson, the 7-year-old who shot himself dead after blank a 16-year-old girl, shows ties with Rupnow, the 15-year-old who also herself after fatally shooting 2 at her school in Madison, Wisconsin, law enforcement says. Okay, sources told ABC News. Rupnow even appears to have been following Henderson online before she died, a month before he also shot up his Christian school more than 1,600 miles from her, the sources said. Okay. Now here it says both of these teens died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds after carrying out separate massacres and showed disturbing interest in neo-Nazi ideology and violence in their online search histories. Both teens also revered other school shooters, with both posting about the massacre at Parkland, Florida. Henderson also made Pinterest posts about the horror at Youthdale, Texas, while Rupnow posted about the Columbine school shooting. Now, this is what is being spoke a lot about now, which is his manifesto. He posted a 51-page document expressing violent hatred towards Jewish people and self-hatred as a Black person, which he blamed for him being an incel, a person unattractive to others. So what did I say? One of my symptoms of a person like this is self-hate. So if you have self-hate, you're going to have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, lack of self-awareness, all of these things, because he felt that he was a person unattractive to others on the inside. Okay, let's go to this article here. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Let me go down further, because before I get to that one, it's going to explain a few things. Oh, did I miss it on this one? Here in this article, or it may have been another article that I read, it was talking about where it was in the manifesto I read on Twitter. It was showing some of the people that he looked up to. And you can Google that and find that on Twitter. It was showing some of the people that he listened to. And when you have a person who has a distorted way of thinking, it goes back to some of these psychological disorders, then they're going to take words of people that may not have who may not be implying the way he is perceiving it, or relaying the information the way he's receiving it or perceiving it. And he's saying he got certain rhetoric and his mindset from certain people, content creators, other people who have strong, faith-based systems. And it just amazed me that he even mentioned that, he mentioned video games, he mentioned music, and this is the young man. And I've also read on other content creators, pages where they were saying, it's not the typical profile of a school shooter. So what is the typical profile? It is lack of self-awareness, lack of self-esteem, low self-confidence, lack of social engagement when it comes to being in a peer group, wanting to feel that student and pupil connectedness relationship type of vibe. Where are your friends? Who are your friends? He didn't feel like he had any, and the young, and as we listen to these kids, they're describing him as being somebody quiet. They didn't really, he was the quiet kid that didn't really say much. And on the inside, he is, he was drowning. And in the article, it talked about a video game that he studied. This is in the manifesto, where he studied or he played. And in this video game, it's about a school shooting. I was like, okay, wow. So the name of the video game that was mentioned in the manifesto is where he got some of his ideology from, or plans of how he wanted to go about doing this, is called Maya Middle School Shooting. It's an arcade-style top-down shooter made in the RPG Maker MV engine. The plot plays out like a bizarre Japanese version of Hatred. A violent, misanthropic middle school student with a death wish arms herself with as many guns as she can to take into her local middle school with the express purpose of killing as many as she can before getting arrested. I mean, I didn't even know games like this existed. And I know there are some really crazy games out there, but what is that? That is, I'm not into the video game world. I'm learning about video games. It's something new that I'm getting into, but it ceases to amaze me as to what's out there. But those individuals who play those games, I don't even understand why a game like this would be even created. I mean, I know it's supposed to be a difference between fake and real. There's supposed to be a difference between entertainment and then reality, but now we got reality TV entertainment. So kids are processing this stuff a lot different. However, we do understand right and wrong. Let's talk about this manifesto. It points to online communities that encourage mass murder, just like that video game I just showed you, and genocidal fantasies. This is a hate and extreme researcher. He says they do not believe that demonic government will ever get them the kind of ethnic superiority or ethnic dominance that they want. This young man hated black people, and he also hated Jewish people. That's in the manifesto. Here, I'm going to read some of this. Once again, I'm going to attach this article as well. Now, in the manifesto, it says that the 17-year-old man was sucked into the world of, let me pause this. Sucked into the world of hate and never found his way out. And that's so true. And so the guy who is the researcher specializes in hate and political extremism. So here he's talking about the 51-page manifesto. It was filled with the vilest words about African Americans and Jews. So what does that mean? If he hates his own race, what does that mean? You hate yourself. He hated himself. So if someone has self-hate, they're not going to be able to love anyone else. My question is, how did he feel about his parents, his mom? Because earlier in one of the stories that was on here, and even that I listened to, it said that he was dropped off. At first, there was reports saying that he was on the bus, but then it was later clarified that his mom brought him to school. We just heard from another student who was there close by. He said that we used to have metal detectors, but they pulled them out. He wasn't sure why. There's security on the police on the grounds typically all the time, just to not wasn't in that place at that time. So my question is, can this be prevented? How can we stop this? I think one way, and I want to talk about these things at the end for sure, is that we got to tap into the kid. We have to really get in to the kid. One of the central questions, according to Jared, the nonprofit institute, guy who we were just talking about, who radicalized this young man? Who radicalized this young man? What was he listening and how was he interpreting the information the way that it was coming out? He says, we have a black kid expressing white supremacist ideas. Have you ever seen that before? And that's what I was saying. I mean, the little boy was a racist. It wasn't just being prejudiced. He was a racist. He hated. If you read the manifesto, some of the things that he was saying about black people, it was just horrible. It was just horrible. Where did this come from? When did this enter his mind? I read something on Twitter too, where he was listening and reading some indoctrinations of a certain religious group. And it still amazes me how we can twist these things up, and it's going to make one think or believe that it is okay to hurt somebody. That's the distorted, twisted thinking. I'm gonna read a little bit more, and then we're going to I'm gonna tap in to some resources and give you my take. It says, this would not be the first time that a person of color shackled themselves to a white supremacist movement. But in my experience as a researcher, this is one of the most extreme cases I've ever seen. So the manifesto, titled Incel Manifesto. The West has fallen. Billions must die. Billions must die. Accelerate, accelerate, accelerate. Those words, Holt said, represent the worst of the world of hate and a concept known as accelerationism. These are communities that encourage not only mass murder and genocidal fantasies, but also destruction of things like critical infrastructure, any sort of action that would cause mass devastation or suffering. So they are talking about bringing about the collapse of a society and creating their own utopia, essentially. Yeah. They do not believe that democratic government will ever get them the kind of ethnic superiority or ethnic domination that they want. Okay, great people. So with that, I know I'm over my 20 minutes. I'm going to be wrapping this thing up. With that, how can we thwart this? That is really my overall where I'll be all with this. I'm a problem solver, a solution-based person, and I really want to know how we can get to the bottom of this. Now, we know that there are some psychological things going on here. This group of disorder, it could be multiple things. This could fall under the lines of a personality disorder. This could fall under the lines of I had it in here, what I think. This could fall under the lines of a schizophrenia spectrum or other psychotic disorders. Only and you just saw the disclaimer. So I can't diagnose. I can only give symptomology. And what I'm saying is based off the DSM-5. Once again, this is the diagnostic manual for mental health disorders. And this is what where diagnoses are coming from. And if you look under personality disorders, you look under psychotic disorders. I mean, they're so, and disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders, where it's so many of these symptoms, the way they're describing him, you read the manifesto, is coming from. Something with this young man was off. So how do we thwart this? By helping kids understand they are loved, they are appreciated, they're valued, and they have purpose. There is a reason that they're here to fulfill in society for the better. Encourage them, speak good words of them, regardless of how they look. If the kid is not happy with their appearance, help them become happy with their appearance. Cutting their hair, adding hair, cutting, doing the eyebrows, arching the eyebrows. I mean, whatever it is for the individual, that's within reason that a parent is willing to do with their kid. This is important. This is so important. It's the self-esteem. It's the self-confidence. It's the lack thereof. The lack of feeling connected to school, the lack of feeling connected to your classmates, the lack of having friends, having someone to confide in. But the most importantly, I feel, is that I don't care what the nationality of the kid is, the race, none of that matters. What matters is they understand that who they are as a person is valued. Take them down your family history and talk about the successes of people in your culture. That's what they can connect to, because that's who they are, part of who they are. And that's part of their DNA. Their history is this nationality. Make them feel proud in their own skin, because you can't be nobody but yourself. We can bleach, we can tan, we can add, we can subtract, we can try to mix it all up. But at the end of the day, you have to be happy with who you are on the inside and know you were created for a reason and purpose. And you have to understand what it means to like and love yourself. How do we know these things? Do our parents teach us how to like and love ourselves? I'm trying to think. My mom and dad teach me how to do that. One, I could say, maybe we try. Maybe you do. But how? How are these kids knowing that? Because if they felt that, they wouldn't resort to this particular crime. I'm not talking about other things they do. I'm talking about this particular crime, because the commonality is the kid and the school. The kid and the school. It is a disconnect between them and what's going on at school, whether it's directly or indirectly, or nothing could be going on in that environment, but something is going on for him to feel disconnected, for them to feel disconnected, and to make them think that it's okay to do that, to take out the rage of their own self-hatred on others. So how can we help them feel self-love? How can we help them feel valued? We have to show them. We have to show them, and we have to put things in front of them that promote that. Keep being great, parents. Keep being great. I'm going to attach the articles in here that I have in the description section. Continue to love on your kids. Pay attention to things that you may not normally pay attention to. Ask the questions. Have those conversations. Have parent meetups. Have, conversations where you're having coffee and, I don't know, cake, cookies, whatever they like and what you and the other parents like. And y'all can sit down and have these uncomfortable conversations so the kids will feel safe talking to you about these things. Because now there's social media. And social media was on the upcoming when I was coming up. But it wasn't when I was in middle school, elementary school, or high school. After I graduated, then these things I started learning about these things in college, after college. We have to love on them and keep letting them know that they're valued. All right, great people, get in the comments section. How do you feel about this, parents? I know many of you are going to say how you feel. It's so, it's so sad. Please share your views, share your comments, share your videos. I'll be giving resources in the description. But let's save our kids. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.